Two guys either side of 50 with one dream to achieve middle-aged sporting glory. This is the Missing Links Golf Show. Pilgrims, welcome back for the 22nd occasion of the Missing Links Golf Show. I, of course, am Steve Hinks, and I'm joined by Andy Walker. Andy Walker, welcome back.
G'day, Mr. Hinks. Pumped to be here this week. Really looking forward to this weekend. I'll be moseying on out to the Central West, out your way to the illustrious Macquarie Cup, 36-hole event. So I'm really looking forward to that. I feel like I've had a pretty good lead up to the event. So yeah,
well, that's exciting.
I'm feeling good.
That's very exciting. That is one of the topics of discussion this evening for us to get into, which is a little bit of an update on the Macquarie Cup preparation for both of us. I feel we've taken slightly different paths, but we'll get to that all in due course. Andy Walker, something though that I do want to mention, and this is literally only just dawned on me whilst doing the introduction, but I think it's a very, very important point, and it is this: episode 22.
It's the Richie Benaud episode.
It most certainly is, in honour of the great man.
Yes, I did think about that last night, actually, when I was thinking about episode 22.
Yes, so good.
Yes.
I feel like
I'd completely forgotten about it, but you just reminded me. So,
I feel like I should be in a nice beige, ivory, off-white bone jacket whilst we're here doing this. And maybe welcome back to the MCG for episode 22 of the Missing Links Golf Show.
Yes. And look, for all of our international listeners who probably have absolutely no understanding of what we're talking about, Richie Benaud is a legend of the game of cricket.
Absolutely.
Represented Australia and was actually Australian captain in the probably 1950s. He would have started late 50s into the 60s.
Into the 60s, yeah.
Yeah, and then went into commentary and basically changed the way commentary was delivered for cricket in this country, and
made it interesting.
Passed away a few years back, but absolute legend.
Yes,
of the game, and he was he had a very distinct voice and a very distinct delivery style. So,
absolutely, and of course, 22 being his number of choice. So we're honoured. We're honoured to make it this far in the Missing Links Golf Show.
Two for 222.
I can't wait to listen back to this and just hear how bad those impersonations
are. They're appallingly bad, but hey, got to have a crack.
Oh, man, that is so good. That is so good. Anyway, Richie, we love you. We miss you. You are an absolute doyen of the commentary box. So congratulations on a fantastic career and a life well lived. Back on topic.
Yep.
Voice of the Pilgrims.
This is a golf pro.
Yeah, exactly. That's sport in general, I guess. Look, Voice of the Pilgrims. So we... what I thought might be worth starting with, because I generally do this spiel at the end of the show, but for people who maybe hear that we're coming to the end and then switch off, which is shocking, but apparently it can happen, how do you get in contact with us? So how do you actually get your voice heard as a pilgrim? Many do, but the way you do it is you can follow us on Facebook. So you jump on the Missing Links Golf Show on Facebook. You can talk to us via Twitter or X, TML Golf Show on X. You can find us on Instagram. We are called something along the lines of Missing Links Golf or the Missing Links Golf Show or something like that on Instagram. I can't remember off the top of my head.
The Missing Links Golf, it is.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I'm sure if you searched it, we'd come up. You'll see the logo. You'll find us. Also, a really easy way of doing it is just a direct email. So the Missing Links Golf Show @gmail.com is a good way of getting in contact if you have a question or if you have some feedback. So for those pilgrims who have sent through some stuff, and there's some crackers this week, Andy Walker, I think you're thoroughly going to enjoy. We'll get into them. So the first one is from a very good friend of the show, Alex from New South Wales. Shout out to you, Alex. Excellent man. He says this. Andy says his green reading has, and quotation marks, gone through the roof due to aim point. However, his number of putts hasn't improved, nor have his scores. I feel like that's somewhat targeted at you, Andy Walker.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's just wait until, we go through what I did this week on the golf course.
Spoiler alert. Sounds promising. Anyway, there you go. It's them's fighting words, Alex from New South Wales. Thanks for throwing that one out there. I always like a good barb at Andy Walker in the feedback from our pilgrims. The next one is from a very good friend of the show. He's back again this week. Repeat.
Is that Mike?
It's
not Mikey from Shropshire.
It's Mikey from Shropshire. You might remember Mikey sent some feedback through last episode, and we were having a discussion as to whether or not it was Mikey or Mickey. Funnily enough, I was listening to this morning, having a bit of a giggle about that. Clearly, Mikey was as well, because he says this. He says, "Thanks for getting my name right, boys." Says, He goes on to say to make it easy to remember, in fact, it's probably in a bit of an accent as well because he's from Shropshire, which I'm not going to attempt to do after our impersonation of Richie Benaud.
He says, "You what?"
Yeah, that's totally not Shropshire. Far out. Somewhere in East London, I think. Anyway, he says, to make it easy to remember, it's Mikey, like likey, not Mickey, rhymes with licky. Now, I reckon he's had to explain this a few times to come up with something like that.
Yeah. I have to say that's a interesting way of explaining it.
It is. Good on you, Mikey, like likey. Not Mickey, like licky.
Not Mickey, licky, yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
I know. There is a whole lot there, Mikey, that I think that you need to probably go away and unpack.
Yeah.
So
I think so.
Yeah, we haven't met. We don't know what you look like. We don't know how old you are. We don't know anything to do with your background, but I feel like we've got to know you a hell of a lot better just by that little explanation.
Exactly.
Nevertheless, he says, whilst I'm here, a quick message for Andy.
Yeah, I know. I still haven't got the video that he's talking about from last week. Is that what it was?
Well, all he says is the pilgrims are still waiting.
Yeah, I know.
So, Mikey, like likey, we'll get onto that, Andy Walker. In fact, I'll tell you what, we might have an opportunity to even record that in person over the weekend. Yeah, so at some point during the Macquarie Cup, round about there.
Because it is one thing that I am working on, that move to be able to, get rid of my early extension. So yeah, definitely something I'm working on.
Yeah. Paul from Sydney back on the case as well. Another repeat.
Paul.
Yeah, another repeat pilgrim. He says this is not to either of us actually. He says loved your feedback, Ted from Mollymook.
Yep.
And he said keep those blokes honest, which is interesting. Was there any feedback from Ted from Mollymook on our feedback in relation to Ted's?
No, not on our feedback. I didn't get any feedback from Ted. What he did do though, he did actually send me an update of his golfing score, and he in a competition broke his age today.
Oh, again. What a legend.
Yeah. So playing very good golf. He's now a handicap of 10.0.
Oh, he's chasing hard.
He's chasing hard.
Wow.
Mr. Hinks, I have to say, you've got he's hot on your heels.
That's impressive. That is genuinely impressive.
At aged 82, about to be 83 in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, he is. Because he's, he is. I do know that. Fantastic work, Ted from Mollymook. I tell you what, just quietly, that's an early nomination for Missing Links Golf Show Player of the Week. He's also a former winner from when he went even par around 9 holes, which actually inspired the naming of an episode, I think episode 19 or 18 or something like that. Fantastic work. But see, Paul from Sydney throwing out the love in the direction of Ted from Mollymook, but it also got me thinking, Andy Walker, and I was listening this morning to the previous episode in the vain attempt to do some preparation for this episode. And one of the things that we talked about, I think at one point you referenced that we were coming up with almost now a 325-step plan.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's truth in that. But we got to 5 pillars essentially. So we had the identify your goal, make a plan, make yourself accountable, enjoy the journey, and then this concept on the 5th pillar about flexibility / acceptance / resilience, all of which is good. I'd potentially like to throw in, whether it's a replacement of that for the 5th or whether it's now a 6th pillar, is make it fun. Because I think that's a good motivator. And I think with this, with what we're trying to do, and also probably many things that you're trying to do, if you make it fun, that sometimes helps the motivation to get out there on the hard days and actually go and do it, because you're going to have a good time. Don't make it a chore. Don't make it boring. Don't make it work. Make it fun.
Well, it's fairly closely aligned with, I think, pillar 4 of enjoying the journey. I remember that was one of the pillars that don't be outcome or not just outcome focused. Enjoy the journey along the way. So I feel as though that's pretty closely related to pillar 4.
I think it's on a similar vein, but maybe the pillar 4 of the enjoying the journey, that's like not missing the little moments because you're so focused on the big goal. I think what I'm talking about with making it fun, though, is really trying to have an essence of, like say you're working on your putting, maybe try and work on your putting in a way which is a little bit more game-based and challenge-based, that you can have a good time doing it whilst you're learning a skill, rather than just standing there grinding out for ages on the practice putting green and punishing yourself.
Interesting. I was listening to another golf podcast this morning, and the interviewee was talking about he puts together golf practice plans, not Josh Nichols, but another guy who puts together practice plans, and he was talking about gamifying your practice. So that's one of the things. I've heard that a few times now, in that not just going out and I think is the block practice. You just sort of, hitting ball after ball after ball. It's actually gamifying a little bit and trying to put pressure on yourself so that it, and look, you'll never simulate competition play, but getting as close to it as what you can and adding a little bit of pressure to those shots.
Adam Young talks a lot about that in the practice manual. Absolutely, because he's a big proponent of looking at block practice. So block practice, doing the same thing over and over again, like say grab a 7-iron and you're going to hit 50 balls, and that's important when you're trying to groove in a, say a swing change or a technical element that you need to get the reps under. But once that's happened, if you're actually looking at, say, tournament preparation or something like that, then you might look to random practice, which is, what you're talking about, where say for short game, instead of hitting 10 chips from the same spot and trying to get them right, you're actually scattering the balls all around the green with different lies and different, different slopes and different distances and some of those sorts of things, because then every shot, not only are you playing the shot, but you've got to actually engage the creative part of the brain that's going to figure out how the ball's going to react.
Yep.
So there's that element. And then there is the other one that Adam Young talks about, which is differential practice, which is specifically trying to do different things. Like it might be, say, hitting different parts of the club face, or hitting a slice, hitting a hook, moving the ball left, moving the ball right, moving the ball up, moving the ball down, and which is sort of, that's looking at specific skill building.
So that's sort of like the Tiger Woods 9 windows.
It's exactly that. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
So that's building specific, sort of club head control skills or ball flight skills, or, some of those things, which is, I'm told, I can't do it, but I'm told that if you get to that point, then that would help you address errors during a round, for example, because you'd have that skill to be able to manipulate. Plus, you've got more shots. You got more shots.
Yeah. Not only that, when you're playing now, I was fortunate in that when I moved from Mollymook up to Sydney, I joined New South Wales Golf Club and played a lot of golf at New South. And you need to learn to hit different golf shots at New South Wales, because it's just, the different playing conditions that you have at New South, well, they're chalk and cheese from one day to the next. Even morning to afternoon can be completely different. So yeah, really helps to have a lot of shots in your bag at a place like that.
Oh, without a doubt. I feel like I've got two. I've kind of got two shots, and that I'm pretty consistently able to play good shots and bad shots.
I thought you were going to say left shots and right shots.
There's that too. Maybe I can branch out to three. Yeah.
Yeah. Go on.
So anyway, that's just a bit silly, but it's unfortunately kind of accurate. Have you got any Voice of the Pilgrims that you wanted to share, Andy Walker? Was there anything that came through?
I did. I actually got a direct bit of feedback from a pilgrim who's been on the show. Actually, our good mate Scotty Fisher.
Oh, Scotty, what a champion!
Yes, sent through a text, and he said he'd just listened to episode 19 when I was talking about what I was trying to do with my swing and how I was approaching it. And he says that he thinks that I'm trying for too much on my backswing. And he goes on to say, and I'm going to quote, more specifically, at your/our age, trying for a full shoulder turn is a mistake because it's really difficult to maintain correct angles and sequences when you're trying to do that. So he's just saying I'm an old bloke. And
so, but hang on, Scotty. Hang on. He says at your/our age. I mean, firstly, you're older than Scotty and I anyway, so that's true. That's true. That's an issue. I'm going to leave that alone for a moment.
Yeah.
But is he saying that there comes a point in your playing life where the full shoulder turn now works against you, that you should just accept a smaller turn?
It's more around flexibility and mobility. And if you don't have the flexibility and mobility to make a full shoulder turn, trying to make a full shoulder turn is counterproductive, is effectively what he's saying.
He's been quite direct with you. And this is interesting because in the messages that I've had with Scotty when I've sent in some swing videos for some feedback, and I've kind of been saying, look, I'm trying to, complete the backswing and, really get to a good position at the top. And gently, Scotty's been saying to me, how far back you get the club doesn't really matter. I probably wouldn't focus too much on that. It's more about effective weight transition on the downswing. Maybe focus your energy onto that. It's like quite gentle, but I feel like giving us a similar message, Andy Walker.
Yeah, look, I've known Scotty obviously a lot longer than what you have, and we've been very good mates for a long time. So he's been pretty direct and just saying you're an old bloke.
Yeah,
just stop it.
Yeah. So is he suggesting that your backswing should get to around about hip height, and that's about it? Like, is that what he's saying?
Potentially. He didn't necessarily clarify just what a full shoulder turn is, but he's certainly saying that making a full shoulder turn at my age is potentially counterproductive and detrimental to playing good golf.
Because you could pop a hip or something like that. I guess that's what he's
potentially
probably saying.
Potentially, could dislocate a shoulder, or do an ACL or a pec.
Oh man, this is taking a turn. Oh, Scotty, that's gold.
That, did you?
No, I didn't. That's absolutely gold. I mean, I think he's probably right. He knows more about the swing than we do. So,
yep. Look, I did actually come back to him and say, look, I do, for my age, I do feel pretty good. I've kept myself in reasonable shape. I'm still relatively fit. I do stretching every night, so I still feel as though I've got a bit of mobility there. I won't say word for word what his response was, but sort of, the old sort of saying, tell him he's dreaming is sort of around the on the mark as to what that response was. So yeah,
we got to get Scotty back on the show. We really do. So good, good.
Yeah, quite direct.
No, it is, and we'd expect nothing less. We like that with all of our pilgrims, but certainly those that have been on the show.
There's nothing like a bit of good old honest feedback.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess that's possibly true. We don't all respond to it as well as others, but that's fine. I've got a couple of other things though that's come through. I don't know if this necessarily qualifies as a voice of the pilgrim, but I am going to slide it into this segment nevertheless. And that is that it would appear that the Facebook page called My Golf Spy now is a friend of the show, because less than 24 hours after we released our last episode, where we had a bit of a discussion about Wyndham Clark and his caddy and their conduct on the greens, and in particular with his caddy that pulls a wedge out of the bag and actually shapes up as if he's going to hit a putt behind the ball to really demonstrate to Wyndham how he's got to line up. This was picked up by My Golf Spy and actually came out as an article on their Facebook page. So I think I'm not a big believer in coincidences, Andy Walker. So I'm going to give a big shout out here, right here and now, to My Golf Spy, living up to their name, just spying on our show for some content. But it's fine, guys. It's absolutely fine. If you want any kind of content or anything like that, just reach out to us. Connect with us on Facebook. It's obviously where you guys like to hang out. Just drop us a line where, we're more than happy to provide you with a little bit of content if you're out there looking for it.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
But anyway, that was controversial. And the other one is actually, I don't know if this classifies as Voice of the Pilgrims because it's from me. It's one of,
well, you are a pilgrim.
I would like to think so.
And you've got a voice.
I most certainly do. Quite like using it as well, if anyone's noticed. So one of my observations, all right, this is interesting. Things change over time. And when we started this quest, we were talking about going on or attempting to enter and compete in the New South Wales Senior Amateur Championships. One event per year. That was kind of the target. Listening to recent episodes, the conversations drifted to Australia-wide senior events. So I feel like the goal's grown.
Yep.
But here's something that I've noticed has started to come up in the conversation. And I was listening to it today. I was in the car and I went, well, that's interesting. Conversation has now started to drift, Andy Walker, towards scratch handicaps.
Yes. Well, I mean, that did come up pretty early because when we started with the strokes gained, what our benchmark was and started to be was that scratch handicap. So I guess naturally, if you're in that mindset of, your barometer is a scratch golfer, then that ends up being the goal, really.
Look, it does.
It ends up being one goal.
Yeah, it's a goal. I'm not against it. Okay, I'll put that out there, but I feel like we're getting a bit of goal creep, which is fine.
Yeah, right.
Which is fine. But this might also come down to the fact that I don't think we got specific enough with our goals. To Ted's point, when Ted from Mollymook, with his feedback, we probably didn't really write down the specific hard and fast goals that we're trying to achieve. So I think that's maybe something for us to consider. Not for now, just something for us to consider in the coming episodes.
So here's a question then. Did we actually write down any of the goals or did we just talk about them?
We just talked about them.
That could be a problem.
It is. But in our defense, we did not at that point have our patented 324-step plan for success at that stage. So how were we to know?
That needs to be written down.
How were we to know? Actually, we do need to package that up and make that available to the pilgrims because I think there's some good stuff in there. That's a much bigger topic. But anyhow, I think that's interesting. Like that might be something that we need to sit down and talk about over the weekend whilst you're out here for the Macquarie Cup. So speaking of the Macquarie Cup,
do you think maybe we'll end up wanting to turn pro and play pro golf? Do you think it'll creep that much?
I did actually have a conversation with another pilgrim at one point who they genuinely thought that was the point of the show.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was flattered.
Yeah.
and then thought, hang on a minute, you've seen me play golf. Like, seriously, that's not going to happen. Well, not with that attitude, it's not anyway.
No, it's not.
So,
It's not.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
but you never know. Yeah. So some people have thought that actually our quest is, and I'm sure if one person said it to me, other people have thought it. So some people have thought that our quest is legitimately about joining the, like literally the seniors pro tour, not just playing some senior amateur championships. So maybe.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the goal is definitely the senior amateur tournament. So there is a senior amateur tour, not just New South Wales but also Australia.
An order of merit, I think you call it, Andy Walker.
There is an order of merit, and as we have spoken about, David McCollum has made the Australian senior amateur team. So that's certainly something. While I haven't written that down in definite sort of goals anywhere, it's in the back of my mind that, representing Australia. I mean, I've represented New South Wales, but never represented Australia before. So I'd love to be able to represent my country.
Be pretty special.
Even as much as just to get on the same page as David McCollum, because he doesn't rub it in at all.
Yeah, I can imagine he wouldn't. He's not that sort of guy. Dave, if you're out there listening, we love you. Want to get you back on the show soon. Excellent. So, nice work with the Voice of the Pilgrims. That's stock standard. It's now taking somewhere between 25 to 30 minutes each episode to get through.
Excellent.
Which is good. But there's always a bit to unpack, and it's good. It's taking on a life of its own. And I think the thing that I love on this one is from one pilgrim to another. We are merely now a conduit for the conversations within our community, which is beautiful. Recent rounds, Andy Walker, have you had any? And if so, how did they go? You alluded to it earlier. I feel there's a story to tell here.
Yes. I did play in a comp round this week at my home club. Again, same as last week. Didn't go out with any great expectations. Just wanted to go out and, enjoy the round. Are you actually quoting Charles Dickens now? Are we adding that to the list? No. Great expectations. No. And look, I have to say I'm not a big reader, and certainly not of Charles Dickens, so I wouldn't be quoting Charles Dickens. I think at school, I was lucky to have read anything, to be honest with you. A scorecard, maybe. Scorecard. I did read a couple of golf books when I was at school, but that was pretty much about it. Very good. So, anyway, I digress. I'd just like to add things to your quotable quotes list. So I thought you were bringing in a bit of Charles Dickens. Anyway, that's fine. So anyway, look, I went out with, not a huge expectation on my shoulders. Just wanted to go out and enjoy the round, see how it went. As we've talked about, making some changes to my swing so I don't feel as though from a consistency perspective that's where I'm at and where my strong point is. However, I played the front nine relatively well. My first hole was pretty ordinary. Had a couple of shots in the fairway bunker and ended up holding about a 25-foot putt for bogey. Nice. So probably wasn't the best start, but then made a couple of birdies on 4 and 5, which got me to 1 under. Made a bogey at 7. Damn. Birdie at 8. Turned at 1 under. Oh, hang on a minute. This is exciting. Yeah. All right. So made the turn at 1 under. Before you go on. Yep. Okay. Right. 1 under at the turn. What I want from here on, we don't have to go through shot by shot gory detail, but I want hole by hole score so that we can track this on the way in. So 10. Okay. Hole 10. Yeah. Birdie. So we're now 2 under. 2 under. Hole 11. Bogey. Oh, damn. 1 under. 1 under. 12. Birdie. Come on. Back to 2. Under. Hole 13, which is my bogey hole. Yeah. So 13 is the duck hook into the water special. Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about the tee shot. I decided to pitching wedge, hit a 4-iron off the tee as what I've normally done, and hit it into the fairway bunker.
Okay.
Then fairway hit a 6 iron to right of the green, probably 10 meters right of the green. Was a little bit lucky it didn't go in the hazard, but because there is a sort of hazard down the right hand side of the fairway as well. Um, Pitched to probably about 1.5 meters and hit the putt exactly where I wanted to. Just didn't turn, and I two putted for bogey. So
Back to one
look,
under.
back to one under. Hole 14, bogey.
Oh, no, we're back to even.
Yep. 15, par.
Good.
16, par.
Oh, we can do this. We can bring this in on even par. You got 2 holes to play, Andy Walker. Finish strong.
17, bogey.
No! All right, we need birdie to finish.
18, bogey.
Oh, no. I can't believe it.
So look,
So
I
close.
I was 2 under after 12.
Oh, you were even with 2 to play.
Yeah, and I did bogey 4 of the last 6. But in saying that, look, it's been quite a while since I've been under par. Well, about 12 months ago, I did get to 1 under par in a comp round.
But that deep into the round, that's
been
good.
a very, very, very long time since I've been 2 under par. Like we're talking 25 plus years since I've been 2 under par. So, look, I'm looking at it from a positive aspect in that I need to learn how to get under par again and how to stay there, right?
Yeah.
And at the moment, my game's just not, and look, it was uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie. It was uncomfortable standing on the 13th tee going, wow, I'm 2 under.
So, this is interesting. Did it get in the head a little bit? Like,
I don't feel it did. I feel as though my swing did break down a little bit, and the old early extension.
Fatigue or mental, do you think?
No, it was the early extension. It was just going back to old habits. I mean, you always fall back to obviously to your habits when you're under that sort of pressure. And I just haven't put the reps in with these swing changes to be able to, get to 2 under par and keep going and make that 3, 4 under par. Given I know that I'm still capable of getting under par and more than just 1 under par early in my round, getting to 2 under par on the 12th or after 12 gives me a lot of confidence that I've still got a pretty strong ability to be able to shoot subpar for 18 holes. So I've just got to learn how to do that again. And as I said, it's not being a 5 marker and being that long since I've been that far under par. It's as I said, I wasn't comfortable. I did feel as though I dealt with it reasonably well. There were times where I stood over a couple of shots and just went, I'm under par still, or I'm even par as I was sort of 15 onwards.
Yeah.
But I managed to then sort of snap out of that mindset by the time I actually started swinging, and I felt as though my mindset was actually in a good place. I just don't feel as though my swing is strong enough to be able to deal with that level of pressure at this point in time. So, but I'm really positive about where my game's heading.
That is impressive. Super impressive. I think it's heartbreaking that with 2 to play being even, that you didn't wrap up an even par round. But like you say, so much to take from it.
I don't look
positives.
At it. I don't look at it like that. I don't see it as heartbreaking. I'm a bit disappointed, but I'm focused on the positive of it. And given that I was able to get under par, and not only get under par, then go further under par and get to 2 that deep into my round, I just see that as a massive positive. And that's what I'm seeing that as the improvement and getting some, getting some miles under the legs when it comes to competition golf. And I think that's what we're talking about that might have even been last week, in that I just haven't played a lot of competition golf.
For sure.
And competition golf is just a very different beast to social golf.
Yep.
So look, yeah, I had 5 birdies throughout my round. I putted really, really well. I
Well,
holed,
this was the point that I was going to ask, because obviously
yeah.
Alex's feedback earlier is number of putts hasn't improved, nor have your scores. I would argue 2 overs probably an improvement.
Yeah, so 28 putts I had in the round. It's so from a strokes gained perspective, plus 3.1 strokes gained in the round for from a scratch handicapper
For putting.
for putting. Yep,
Yeah, that's pretty good.
yep. So I'm pretty happy with that. I do feel as though I had a 3 putt on the 11th. That was the bogey on 11 after birdieing 10 to get a 2
Back to
under.
2.
I then 3 putted 11 to go back to 1, and then I birdied 12, which is a par 3. I hold probably about I don't know, maybe a 18-foot putt across the green to get back to 2.
That's impressive. But your 3 putt was from what, 3-4 feet?
I actually it was more my first putt that was pretty ordinary. I just wrapped it, maybe about 8 feet past the hole, and I actually hit a reasonably good putt. Second putt, it's just that it broke more than what I thought it was. So on 13, I said I had a putt of about 1.5 meters, so about the same length, or maybe a little bit less. The one on 13, which didn't break. Well, the one on the 11th, it did break. So they were sort of the two shortish putts that I missed, but everything else like almost went dead center. Like I feel as though I putted quite well.
I feel it would be remiss of me not to pick up on this, but the 2 putts that you missed, one broke, one didn't break. This, to me, Andy Walker, points to green reading and aim point.
No, see, well, you could draw those comparisons, but then you're looking at 2 specific examples.
Well, yeah.
I think you've got to look at the whole round and how aim point helped me throughout the whole round, rather than just picking 2 things. It's like our conversation around focusing on your bad shots and not bringing the good stuff in with it, and looking at it from a holistic perspective.
It's not about being sensible. I'm just trying to take things out of context to prove a point on behalf of the Pilgrims. That's all.
Yes. Yeah.
They know.
And look, point taken, but I'll ignore
it. That's per usual. Oh, I'd be disappointed with anything less. Andy Walker, I really would. Yeah. Any other takeouts from that round?
Yeah, look, so from a strokes gained perspective on that specific round, so mine is 1.5 for driving.
Yeah.
Mine is 3.7 for approach shots.
Yep.
+1 for short game, and +3.1 for putting. So that's sort of the breakdown of the different areas of my game. So approach play definitely is an area that I need to work on, and that's just, I think, the swing changes that I'm still in the middle of and making. That's to be expected. I think I don't think that's any surprise. But I have been with my short game, been working on the clock system, and been putting a little bit of time into my putting. So I'm not surprised that they've come up a little bit and they've improved.
Good one.
So yeah, so driving also, I really need to get my act together with driving, because the majority of my tee shots I actually hit with my 3 driving iron rather than my driver. I found that at my home club, it's and certainly off the forward tees, which is what we were playing off, hitting my driving iron, it's a much more comfortable shot and a much wider landing area, because it's basically where you'd be landing it from the plates.
Yeah.
With a driver. So I feel as though from the forward tees, it's a much more strategic approach not to hit driver, because it does get in pretty tight in some areas with driver from the front tees. So So I'm just again just trying to be a bit more strategic with my game, and again, aiming for the best parts of the fairway, the widest parts of the fairway, the middle of the green, and that seems to be working pretty well.
Very good. Very good, Andy Walker. That's a hell of a round of golf, I've got to say.
Yeah. So yeah, I've dropped 0.6 off my handicap, so 4.0 I am now.
That's we're not going to unpack this right now because I think we'll save it for next episode when we get through the end of the month. But I've got a feeling that might be a marker out there to beat in the Missing Links Golf Show yearly championship for March.
I believe so.
I mean,
so
obviously it is in front because it's the only. Look, I haven't played a comp round in March, so
yep,
and that's your best. So clearly, but we've got 2 rounds to go over the weekend.
So I have officially reduced my handicap by 10% since the start of the show.
There we go. Good stuff. That's what we like on the Missing Links Golf Show. Reductions of 10% or greater. This show comes with a guarantee, and that is it.
Good luck with that. So what about yourself? What about yourself, Mr. Hinks? Have you obviously no competition rounds?
No.
Any hit and giggle rounds out there?
No hit and giggle rounds at all, but I did have a practice round over 9 holes with a couple of the Pilgrims, which was good fun. And this was, when was this? Wednesday last week, I think it was. So we got out there for a bit of a tune-up 9 after work, which was good. Race around and had a bit of a hit. Look, interesting round. I felt like I putted really well, and I felt like off the tee, I wasn't. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. And kind of hit a couple of fairways, missed a couple of fairways, pushed a couple out. Pretty much all my misses as left-hander were pushes to the left. And what was interesting as well was on one of the holes, I hit it up the left tree line, and I had a bit of a suspicion of what might have gone wrong. So I laid the club down along my toes, stepped back, and lo and behold, alignment was straight up the left tree line. So not up the centre of the fairway because the ball flight was dead straight, just went straight up the left side and finished in the trees. So that cost me a shot, which was a bit annoying. Nevertheless, 9 holes finished 2 over par. So I was pretty happy with that.
Nice.
And what I was also quite happy about is on 2 occasions I got to 3 over and then made birdie to bring it back to 2 over, one of those being the 9th itself, which is pretty tough par 3 because we played the second 9, so it's 18 back up the hill. It was playing about 180 metres up the hill.
Hit
a nice 5-iron and sunk probably 18 to 20 footer down the hill, which was good.
Nice.
So from a strokes gained point of view, this is quite interesting. So this is looking at it. Obviously, it's only 9 holes, so it then amplifies that over 18 to try and figure it out. I hit 13 putts through 9 holes. So my putting was pretty solid. And in fact, it got rated at plus 4.68 strokes gained against a scratch golfer.
Okay.
It's probably my best putting result I think I've ever had.
Nice.
Short game was minus 1.04, approaches minus 0.86, but tee shots minus 3.18. So that's where the problems lie.
Yeah. Okay. So how are you feeling then coming into the Macquarie Cup? Are you feeling a bit underdone, or you're feeling as though you've tapered quite well? Like what's the general feel?
I'm feeling pretty confident, even with these little tee shot glitches that we've got going on at the moment. And I think, like, looking at it, there's something that really stands out is this. At the start of this show, was struggling with approaches, so ball striking on approaches, but also had not really kind of had that much confidence with putting and short game. So what have I been working on? What have I been practicing on over the last 22 weeks has been looking like hitting irons in the high performance center. So hitting a lot of, and I've really been probably focusing on mid irons more so than anything else, like 7 iron, 8 iron, because once I get up into the 9 pitching wedge, I'm hitting over the net into the jip rock, which is not a good outcome.
No.
And if
I tried to do that with a 7 iron the other day. We're going to have to post it.
It's on Twitter. It's on X.
Oh, is it?
I put it on X. As a matter of fact, I should have mentioned this. Sorry, we're digressing massively. I should have mentioned this to Mikey because the Pilgrims might be waiting. But Mikey, get on X, and it's not the instructional video that you're hoping for, but far out, it is absolute gold. Andy Walker playing a bunker shot with a 7 iron, I think it was, and just lobbing it over the net. It was some of your best. Anyway, massive digression. The point that I was going to make is that I think I'm seeing the results of what I've been working on. Okay, which is
that's a surprise, isn't it?
Oh, isn't it though?
I've been working on my irons, my short game, and putting,
and they've improved. And I've been ignoring the driver. Why have I been ignoring the driver? Because I haven't had anywhere that I can hit a driver, because I don't have a driving range that I can hit a driver on. And I've tried to hit driver into the net, which I can do, but I don't know. It's not giving me the same feels. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Maybe I don't feel like I can put a full swing on it. I don't have the confidence indoors to do that. And therefore it's not kind of replicating what it's like out on the course, whereas the other clubs it absolutely does. And I have spent quite a lot of time in the short game area practicing, just wedges around the green and putting, and that's definitely made a difference. And that mental switch with the putting has absolutely made a difference, which is the not caring about the result, just focusing on trying to hit the putt that I want to hit. Since I've done that, that's made a remarkable difference to putting. So how am I feeling about the weekend? I think all in all, to shoot 2 over par for 9 holes when I wasn't driving the ball well, that actually makes me feel pretty good. And I have been playing pretty solid for a little while now, so I am feeling relatively confident. We're kind of digressing into the next segment, which is preparation for the Macquarie Cup.
Yeah,
which we may as well go there.
Yep.
And look, on that, I think I've I didn't really get any golf in over the weekend just gone, which was a little bit disappointing. I would have liked to have, if not got a round in, at least probably got a bit more practice in, but there was other things that was going on, daughter's music camp and various things. So, it's difficult, obviously, to get golf in when you need to, and other things get in the way. We know that that's a central theme of the show. But what I've really worked on, yes, is the taper, and I feel like I've nailed the taper. There's a lot to work on pre-tournament, and part of that obviously is you guys, your whole family, coming to stay with us for the Macquarie Cup over the weekend. This afternoon, I got home from work and I had to test out the spa because it was important just to make sure that was fully functional for the Walkers visit. So I'm happy to report that it's working well, and I'm feeling really relaxed as a result.
Excellent. So because I know the kids are going to jump in the pool at some stage over the weekend, so did you test that out as well?
No, I haven't tested the pool. I've got to do a little bit of a clean on the pool. I'll probably do that on Friday morning after I mow the lawns. So yeah, I feel like that's some quality tournament prep. I'm not sure what Dave McClelland would make of that, but that's kind of where I'm at.
Oh, look, I reckon that if you had a glass of red in your hand, that David McClelland would approve of pretty much any activity if you had a glass of red. So yeah, I think you'd be okay with it. Not yet.
We'll leave that for the weekend, I think. But anyway, it's I think it's exciting, like it. And I look, like, there's a couple of things with this. Like, I look at this and I go, the result of this one doesn't really matter. Like, this is about building some tournament reps and, for me at least, sort of the first crack at a decent level tournament. So it'll be a learning curve, and I'm expecting, it to be. I'm expecting it to be really, really good fun, really interesting. Some variety of emotions, no doubt, will play out over 36 holes, and hopefully I manage that as well as possible and get a decent result. So that's that's my hope. I could go out there and just shoot 2 really good rounds. That's possible. I could go out there and shoot 2 really bad rounds, and I need to be able to accept that whatever happens.
Yeah, and look, I agree with that. It's going to be interesting because, I mean, look, you have played in a couple of Varden events previously when we've gone away for the Missing Links Masters, when we've gone to Duntry.
Yes.
Those were the Hahn Open at Duntry. We've had a couple of goes at that. So it's not like you're completely foreign to playing in.
Oh, no, true. Absolutely. And I mean, being in Australia, we play competition golf at our respective clubs on, as much as we can. Whenever we're playing rounds, we're playing comp golf. So it's not, it's probably not the same as someone that's only ever played with their mates and then they're going and playing a tournament. But I think the difference for this one for me is that like this has got handicap cut off that you got to be single digit minimum to play in this tournament. So, I go in, and that in some ways that kind of helps because I go in as, I'll be one of the highest handicappers at a 9. So that really brings the expectation levels down.
Yeah, and look, the other part of that is in these sorts of events, they're played off the plates, and they're played with championship pin positions, and it's set up it's set up for tournament play, and that's very different. Even the midweek or weekend club competition, unless you go to club championships or something similar, it's going to be very different to what you would experience. A, very different with social events and social play, but B, even just regular club competitions. It's sort of that next level that is going to be really look. I love playing in those sorts of events. So. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Likewise, I think it's really exciting. I'm thoroughly looking forward to it, and I feel like it is legitimately that first step into that, into that direction that we have had on this show. So I think it's really good. It's good.
And look, I think your mindset as well in that, while I know you want to play well, this is the first step in the journey. It's the first step in the pilgrimage. It's irrelevant in the longer term what you shoot this weekend.
Oh, absolutely.
It's getting those reps under your belt. It's getting the miles in the legs. And that's exactly what I said with my round earlier in the week, is, getting miles in the legs, shooting under par and being under par and understanding how that feels again. That's gold. Like you can't replace that.
Yeah.
In any, whether it be practice or social play, you've got to get there and get into that heat of the comp and get under the pressure to be able to understand how you're going to react to it. And even though I did plenty of it 25 years ago, I still need to relearn how to do it.
Well, so you're not 25 years younger anymore, Andy Walker. I think Scotty made that perfectly clear.
Yeah, I was going to say, according to Scotty Fisher, I'm not. So
yeah. Look, one of the other things that kind of came up in my thinking when I was kind of going through this process and thinking about what it will be like was we've talked a lot about the concept of acceptance during the course of this show and the importance of acceptance and how to focus on process rather than outcome, have acceptance of outcome, enable you to release that, focus on process and, try not to think about the end score, but you're thinking shot by shot, etc. We've talked about that ad nauseum. I just feel like this is really going to put it to the test this weekend because that's different in tournament setup than it is when you're playing any other round. And the ability to put the result to the side and focus on process in these sorts of an event, I just feel like it's absolutely the acid test, Andy Walker. I don't know your thoughts on the matter, but...
Yeah, look, I agree. However, again, I think you also need, if you don't perform like you want to, I think you need to use it as a learning experience, not, as, that's it, I can't do it. Which I know you're not going to do, but This is the first step, in the pilgrimage. It's not, there's a long way to go. We're still quite a while off playing Australia-wide senior amateur events.
Mm.
And we've got to and that's what Dave McCollum talked about. He talked about, keeping that contact and little by little taking the opportunities to play and practice and get ready so that by the time, well, I'm going to get to 55, obviously a little bit sooner than what you are.
Hope
But
so.
by the time we get there, we're ready to go, when we're ready to compete, because we've got those the miles in the legs, we've got the competition, we're prepared under competition conditions to be able to deal with that pressure. So this is the first step.
Yep. Makes a lot of sense. It'll be interesting to see, because I feel the pressure level quite likely will just be that additional, 10% or whatever it might be. So being able to stay in process throughout that, I think, will be a really, really good sign.
Mm. But look, I think that you've still got a lot of tools in your bag that you can fall back on. I mean, we've talked about your cricketing history previously, and it's about the same. I'm sure you've played in plenty of big cricket games where you've walked out there opening the bat, and you're facing a pretty ferocious fast bowler who's throwing them down at 140, 145 and wants to hurt you.
Hopefully
And
they're not throwing them down, because you'd want that to be called as no ball. But I mean,
that's
I
true.
always like the grand finals. Love the big games.
Yeah.
And just the extra atmosphere and the extra, just knowing that it's on the line. But it's that little bit of difference in a sport like that, a little bit like footy, where it's a reactive sport, and I guess probably cricket may be slightly different insofar as you've really got to kind of play within yourself a lot of the time and give yourself a chance to shine at the right times. But, because when you make a mistake, you're out. Golf's got similarities. Obviously, you're not out. You still get to finish the round, but it's about, sort of knowing when to push and knowing when to, play the percentages and some of those sorts of things. It's not just about running hard at the defensive line. So I guess there are similarities. You're right in that case.
Yeah, look, and at the end of the day, I mean, in cricket, you've got a guy, bowling at 140, 145 clicks. I mean, in golf, the ball's still, so surely that must be a lot easier than
Yeah, I know.
opening the bat.
I know, wouldn't you think, right? But the difference is I hit many, many boundaries in my cricketing career from nowhere near the centre of the bat.
Over slips from the edge.
Yeah, between them perhaps. And I just don't think that you can do that in golf.
If you hit the hosel, it's probably not going to be a green in regulation.
And I feel like that's potentially the trade off there. That the ball might be still, but you just definitely got to hit it with the middle of the bat.
Yeah, fair point.
Yeah. So anyway, enough about me, Andy Walker. How are you? How are you preparing for the event?
Look, obviously, the last couple of weeks, I've made an effort to play in competition rounds because, as we've covered, I don't feel I've got a lot of miles in the legs when it comes to competition play. So, a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't able to play in a comp, but I think I've made up for that with the last couple of weeks, and it's probably better because, given I've played last week and I've played this week leading into the Macquarie Cup, I feel as though that's probably ended up being a better outcome than if I had have played a couple of weeks back last week and then missed this week. So I sort of feel as though that's worked to my advantage a little bit, even though at the time I didn't necessarily think so, which is good. The other thing is that I've been pretty good with going out into the high performance center in between work and just hitting some balls in the net and just trying to get a little bit of groove into my swing, and I feel good about what's going on there. Had a couple of really good short game and putting sessions, so I just feel as though everything's in a good spot for where I am now. Obviously, there's still a lot of improvement to be made, and I think certainly where I'm going to be at the end of the year, given where the velocity of my golf game
Oh,
is
we haven't heard that
right
in a
now.
while. That's so good.
Do
So
you like
good.
that? Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. So I just feel as though I'm in a good spot for where I am right now, and I'm pretty comfortable. Again, I'm gonna, as I have done this week and last week, I'm gonna go out without too many expectations. If I shoot 85, I shoot 85.
Oh,
That's
look, what
that's
can you do?
fine.
Yeah.
I've got to practice acceptance. That's one of the big sort of keys I think we've identified
Yeah.
with our game. So obviously, I feel good at the moment, but as with golf, anything can happen. So that's just the way it is. That's the game.
Yeah. No, that all makes complete sense. And I think, the acceptance point, that's going to be a challenge. And that's, I think, part of the whole process, staying focused on process, letting the results take care of themselves, accepting them for what they are.
Yep.
I think that's sort of the learning curve that I really want to focus on for this weekend. Let the results happen as they will.
Yeah. The only thing I will mention, and I really do need to mention this because it's a bit of a in the back of my mind. There's a little little bug, little thing that's going on, and that's my driver and fairway. In that I have lost confidence in being able to be consistent with hitting, and it's been a long time since I've been consistent with my driver and fairway. I think I mentioned the vast majority of my tee shots were with my driving iron this week, and I've been able to do that with my home club because we've been playing from the forward
Going
tees.
forward, you won't have that luxury this
I
weekend.
won't have that luxury with the Macquarie Cup, so there's a little bit of apprehension there.
Well, if it eases your mind, you'll be happy to know that this course, Dubbo Golf Course, where the Macquarie Cup's being played, is quite tight.
But then again, so was Mudgee.
True.
And I felt as though I was able to get myself out of trouble, even though the snappy hook was definitely there. And the really good thing is as well, the last two rounds, no snap hooks, none. There's been a couple that have gone sort of straight left, like at left side of the green or left side of the fairway, but no left going left.
Yeah,
So
well,
I sort
that's
of
a win.
feel as though I've overcome a little bit of the snap hook. However, now that obviously we've talked about it a bit, my coach has said that my driver and fairway don't necessarily suit my game and where and my swing. It's sort of got in my head a little bit. So I have lost a little bit of confidence, and yeah, I'm keen to maybe explore some different options.
Well, as we all know, once you start losing confidence with certain clubs, the only way out is to purchase your way out of that situation. So I think that definitely gives you a strategy. Andy Walker, I've done a little bit of research on the event itself on the Macquarie Cup.
Oh yeah, yep.
Because I thought, we've talked about ourselves a lot, but we should talk about the event. It's been around for a while. It's a pretty well-regarded regional event, certainly in Western New South Wales. But what I didn't realise was just how long it's been around for, and a bit of a Google search exposed some information. I found some newspaper clippings from the archives in the New South Wales Library, which talked about the inaugural playing of the Macquarie Cup was in 1924.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty impressive.
It is impressive. And do you know what that means? It's 100 years ago.
Ah, wow. Okay. Is this being noted with
No.
with any?
I don't think anyone is aware.
Okay, mate. I think this is something that we need to make the club aware of.
I think so. So I'm going to try and find. Well, I'm going to have. I've already found it. I just need to clip an image of it and give them that newspaper article. Like it's probably not been played every year, so it's probably not the 100th. but apparently the inaugural was 1924. I also found, and I really enjoyed this, like the 1924 newspaper article was very hard to read, and the kind of the digital transcript didn't make a great deal of sense. But anyway, you could kind of get the gist of it. I found a better article from 1930, and again, like it said the same thing, that this is the sixth playing of the Macquarie Cup.
Yep.
Incidentally, back then they were playing it over the October long weekend rather than Easter.
Okay. Yep.
Anyway, by the by. But what they said, which I thought was fantastic, was that in 1930, still it was a 36-hole event over 2 days, but on the evening in between the two rounds, the event was accompanied by a dance social held in the ballroom at the club.
Okay.
And for the benefit of players and partners to come along. And apparently a wonderful night was had by all.
Nice.
So don't know what's happened to that. There's no mention of a dance social being on this Saturday night.
No, I haven't seen or heard anything of any sort of social event. But look, I think maybe we could have our own social event to
probably will
celebrate.
I don't know that it'll be a dance necessarily. It might be more a barbecue, but but hey,
won't be any dancing around the barbecue.
Pack the dancing shoes, Andy Walker. You never know. You never know. But I thought that was interesting. So it is an event steeped in history, which is good to know. So yeah,
nice.
Adds a little bit to the event.
Adds a little bit of prestige to the event, knowing that it's 100 years since the first event. It'd be interesting to see how many events have actually been played and whether when the breaks were, and because it'd have to be like the 100th Macquarie Cup would have to be coming up at some stage. If it's been 100 years, they probably took a break.
Yeah, during the war years, potentially.
Yeah. Maybe through COVID, there was a bit of a break, but
I don't know that there was actually.
Yeah, a lot of the Varden events were punted, but it just depends on when it was, because COVID really started to hit in
It might have
March.
been in the first lockdown. Yeah, it might not have been played in the first lockdown. I'm not sure.
But it's worthwhile just going back and maybe finding out how many Macquarie Cups have been played, because it's got to be close. It's got to be within
half a dozen. Unless there was a break for other reasons, I don't know. But I was very interested to read in that clipping that it was 1924. I'll be reaching out and seeing if anyone's aware of that, because it certainly hasn't been marketed as that. But even if it's not the 100th contested, it's the centenary of the event.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So anyway,
nice.
There you go. So it's all on for the weekend, and the beauty of it is, by the time this episode is released and people listen to it, the event will be played. We'll all know the results. We're not going to tell you until we sit down and record the follow-up episode to tell you all how we went. So,
correct.
Yes, no spoilers from the Missing Links Golf Show. Andy Walker, anything else that you would like to cover before we wrap up for the evening? We're going to be seeing each other in person within the next 48 hours, so that's exciting.
I think the only thing that I'd like to briefly mention, and I don't want to talk about it in depth now, is given how much we've delved into our mental game and what we want to achieve. Obviously we've talked to Neil Smith, we've talked to Josh Nichols, we've read Dr. Bob Rotella's material. So I'm sort of on part of the pilgrimage, looking at mental game and how I can improve mental games and the different approaches that people have, and the different systems and blueprints that are out there. Anyway, I've listening to a couple of other golf podcasts. I have come across a mental golf system called the mental golf type. And a guy by the name of John Weir has come up with it, and it's actually really interesting. He sort of breaks it down, and that you have a unique mental golf type, and the way he explains.
Well, you certainly do.
Yeah, that is true. Well, I think we covered that with Neil. That
yes.
He was quite impressed with the amount of thoughts that I had going in my head throughout my swing.
Yeah, it's good.
So the way John Weir breaks it down is that you've got 4 different categories, and in the 4 categories, there's basically 2 options, right? So there's the categories are extrovert, introvert.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm an introvert,
Mm.
a natural introvert. There's sensing and intuition. So I'm sensing. There's thinking, feeling. I'm thinking, surprisingly.
Even though you're a hugger, find that interesting.
Yeah. And then judging and perceiving, which
Oh, definitely judging.
yeah, I'm definitely judging. So my mental golf type is ISTJ, and there's a
Yeah.
specific approach. So the way John Weir explains it is that so obviously everyone, well, vast majority of people have two hands, right?
Yes.
And most people are dominant with one hand. Obviously, I'm right-handed,
Yes.
so I'm dominant with my right hand. My son writes left-handed. Okay, so if I tried to sign my name left-handed, I'd just be all over the shop, right? Whereas if my son tried to write his name right-handed, he'd be all over the shop. So, so what he's talking about is that the mental golf type is similar in that you've got a predisposition to certain traits.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll take the first one, extrovert, introvert. So he talks about Tiger Woods being an introvert, and Tiger Woods is very within himself. Okay, very well known that during the peak of his powers, he didn't talk to his playing partners. If you were paired with Tiger Woods, be prepared to talk to yourself a lot, because he just did not talk to you. He said hello on the first tee, and that was it. He didn't talk to you for the rest of the round. He was so within himself. Whereas someone like Phil Mickelson is, he's very extroverted, so he'll talk to people. He'll get the crowd involved. He's quite social in his approach, right? So that's sort of that's sort of the first one. So it's understanding where you are with those four types, and there are traits, and there's a system that he's come up with to be able to tap into what naturally is your strength in these four categories. So I've only just started with a program. You can actually go through and find your mental golf type free of charge, and then to get into the program. And there's 16 different mental golf types,
Right.
and then you can purchase the program, and you get one of the 16 golf types, that whichever one you fit into, you get the training program specifically for that mental golf type. So I've only just started it. I've only watched the first couple of videos, but I'm finding it quite interesting. So obviously I've gone through the extrovert introvert part, so I sort of have an understanding of that. Next one is the sensing intuition. Well, I'm obviously sensing, so the videos will be very much tailored to the sensing part. So so again,
It's exciting.
Probably a bit too early to talk about it in any great detail, but it's again part of the pilgrimage of going down this path of just trying to get a little bit better, and just find a couple of keys, or a couple more keys that will help me in my mental golf approach.
Well, I certainly look forward to hearing more about that in future episodes to see how it pans out. But I think it sounds very interesting. So,
No, it sort of it piqued my interest as I was listening to it in a couple of other podcasts, and John Weir's been on there. There's a few different.
I've heard him. I've heard him talk about it on other shows. Yeah, I think it's got a lot to offer. So, and anything I think that is a bit more specific and suited to individuals rather than just generic information is definitely a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm looking forward to that, and really keen to jump into it and understand a lot more about it. And I'll definitely be talking a bit more about it in the coming weeks and maybe months.
Very good, very good. I think Andy Walker, the only thing in front of us now is this tournament this weekend.
Yes.
Thoroughly looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing you and the family for the weekend. It'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully we play some good golf. If not, at least the weather forecast looks great. So
weather forecast looks fantastic.
So that is a win. Central West over Easter is a great place to be. So I think that's probably about all we've got time for this week. I'm not sure exactly how long we've gone because we had a little teeny tiny technical hiccup in the middle of the episode there that meant that we've lost our counter, but I think we're a bit over the hour mark now. It's probably a good place to wrap up. We've already been through how to get in contact with us, but if you've forgotten, Missing Links Golf Show on Facebook, the Missing Links Golf Show on Insta, TML Golf Show on X, or drop us an email at the Missing Links Golf Show at gmail.com. You'll notice a common theme in all those things. They pretty much all say the Missing Links Golf Show. There's your clue. Andy Walker, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you once again. Episode 22.
22.
And I'll see you in a couple of days.
Yeah. Rock out, Pilgrims.